Okay, the next pattern we're going to talk about is the ghost pattern. And this is a trend-changing pattern, and as I always say, you gotta love the ghost. As you can see, the logo has a picture of a ghost, and so let's take a look in depth about this pattern. The ghost has a great story for it, a good psychology, and I'll go through that in a couple minutes for you. And there are two types of ghosts that we trade. One is a regular ghost where both shoulders are below the head, and we have the mittens ghost which has both shoulders above the head. So that's the two-type ghost. We also have a ghost, what we call the inverted ghost, which forms below the zero line, and the regular ghost forms above the zero line. So you have a regular ghost and an inverted ghost, the mittens ghost and a regular ghost. The trigger on these ghost trades is breaking the neckline, and also I'll show you, this is one of the unique things about this pattern, is that we have targets with the ghost pattern. Now, as many people know, on price bars we have what we call the head and shoulders, but on an indicator there is no name for a head and shoulders, and we call it the ghost pattern. So let's take a look at the setups and some examples of the ghost pattern. This is a ghost trade short, and you can see where we have a shoulder here, we have a head here, and we have a shoulder here, and breaking that neckline on the CCI is the trigger to go short. It's a trend-changing pattern, so we had been in an uptrend, and all of a sudden it picks it up when we start this downtrend. The other key thing is when you draw your neckline on a ghost, you want to make sure that you can see some of the background color of your chart or some of the histogram, because if you can't see it, then that's not a good shoulder. So a good shoulder, you must be able to see either the background of your chart or part of the histogram. So that's what the ghost pattern looks good. The other thing that I like on a ghost is I like to see the neckline facing towards the zero line. The reason why I like the neckline facing the zero line is because I feel it's tilting my way or going to go my way. Now, that doesn't mean a ghost can't be taken when it's the other angle facing away from the zero line. It's just that my favorite type ghost is I like to see the neckline facing the zero line. So let's take a look at the ghost trade setup. We have a downtrend here, and now we're looking for a long. We have a downtrend, and you can see down here we formed a shoulder, a head, and another shoulder. And we draw our neckline at the low of these shoulders, and that would be our trigger bar to go long. So as soon as we get that taken out, that would be our long signal. And as you can see, this is where it would get in right here. Further on, you'll notice that we broke the neckline on that bar, just like we said before, and we follow it on up. Now, as I said to you, one of the unique things about all these trend-changing patterns and the CCI patterns is that we normally get into these trades 1 or 2 bars, sometimes 3 bars, ahead of the rest of the world. In this case here, if I was to draw a standard trend line, we would have a touch there and a touch there and a touch on that bar, and everybody would get into the trade with their lagging indicators and standard technical analysis on this big bar right here. That's why it's a big bar, because everybody was joining in the parade. If you'll notice, we got in one bar ahead of the rest of the world. That's a key point of trading the CCI. That's why I say just trade the CCI. Don't get yourself involved in all kinds of other indicators trying to slow it down. So that's a key point. So again, the ghost pattern, you draw a neckline. This is an inverted ghost because it's below the zero line. Got a shoulder, a head, another one, another shoulder, and then taking out the neckline, and that is the entry long on a ghost trade. Now let's take a look at a ghost trade short. We had an uptrend, and all of a sudden we formed another shoulder, we formed another head, and now we got a shoulder. Now some people will say, well, is this a ghost here? If you remember what I've said just previous, you have to have either both shoulders above the head or both shoulders below the head. This would not be a ghost because you got one shoulder below the head, you got the other shoulder above the head, so this would not be a ghost pattern. This is a ghost pattern because you got one shoulder below the head, you got the head here higher and the other shoulder below. You draw a neckline there, and that would be your trigger bar. Now ghosts come in many different sizes, from little bitty ghost to big ghost. It doesn't make a difference. A ghost is a ghost is a ghost is a ghost. And I've seen the little ghosts go for big time, and I've seen big ghosts go for big time. So if it's a ghost, as I say, a ghost is a ghost is a ghost is a ghost. So again, there's our uptrend, trend changing pattern. We formed two shoulders and the head above both of them, and taking out the neckline was our trigger. Now this is how we compute the target, what we're looking for on a target. We use CCI points from the neckline to the top of the head in number of CCI points. So in this case, we're approximately about 105 CCI points because we're right at the 100 plus 100, and it goes to about the 205. So we got about 105 CCI points. Then we take that and we subtract it from the neckline break, which is about 90. So what we would be looking for is this ghost with the CCI to go to about 85, 105 points down. So from 90 to 0 is 90, and then another 15 points would be to minus 85. So that's how we calculate the target on the ghost. Neckline to the top of the head and CCI points from the neckline break down, and that's when our profit target on the ghost is taken. And what people will use that for is if they're trading multiple contracts, they will use that sometimes to take off some multiple contracts. But that is the target, how it's figured, how it's calculated on the ghost trade. So let's look at the psychology of the ghost. We have an uptrend. We have an uptrend, and all of a sudden we reach a point where we get some profit taken. Momentuming is slowing down a little bit, and so we form the one shoulder. And then we have some of the Johnny-come-latelys come into the trade that missed that initial up on this dip. They buy it and try to send it up, and they form the head. Then we get some more profit taken on this move up here, and it brings it back down again. And then they say, well, this is a good time to buy some more, and they buy some more, but they can't quite get it to really go. And so what happens here is the pros and the CCIs see this, and this forms that second shoulder. Taking out the neckline is the trigger. And so again, if I was to draw a trend line on the price bars, you would see everybody would be getting into that trade with their lagging indicators on this red bar. We would be getting in on this green bar, one bar ahead of the rest of the world. And you will see this happen over and over again. And that is, again, one of the keys of all these patterns. If you understand the psychology of these patterns, that you can trade it, you know what's going on, what you should expect. Okay, so let's take a look at the ghost short here again. We got our neckline break. We joined here on this bar, like I said before. Everybody else is in here, and this is what we expect. We expect this to go down. Now, one of the things that's unique about the ghost is a trend-changing pattern. A lot of times we will form a familiar pattern, which is one of our patterns, a trend-changing pattern. So a lot of times you will see a familiar form after a ghost. Many, many times that happens. Again, neckline break. That is the trigger to go short. Some people who are very aggressive will see the ghost and they'll take the trade immediately as soon as it starts crossing the neckline. Some of the more conservative traders will wait to 20 to 30 seconds to go to bar print. And some of the more conservative traders will wait to bar print to get their trigger. One is not better than the other. It's just that you have to find your style of trading. That's the key. Okay, let's look at this on a Google 15-minute chart. There's a nice, beautiful inverted ghost. Look at that. Isn't that pretty looking inverted ghost? You got the shoulder here, a shoulder here, and the head here. Beautiful neckline facing the zero line like I want. Now, it could be facing the other way too, but this is the kind of ghost that I really like because I feel if I'm going to go long, it's at least facing the way, a direction that I want to go. So again, the trigger line is taking out the neckline. Now, this happens to be a 15-minute chart, and what it was you had this down move, and then we had a couple bars the next day which triggered the ghost. So you can take the ghost even though it was part of the pattern developed yesterday. So there's no problem there. So you get in right in this area here, and you can see you can just follow that trend all the way up. As you can see, the trend all the way up on the CCI. So beautiful trend-changing pattern, beautiful follow-through, real nice trade, no reason to get out of that trade, and you could stay with that for very, very nice winning trade. And that's on Google. That's a stock. As I said to you, remember, it can be used on everything. The patterns are exactly the same. All right, let's do some live examples here of the ghost pattern. You'll recognize the ghost pattern here, shoulder, shoulder, and a head. You'll also notice there was a gap opening. A gap opening. So now we have a trend-changing pattern, which is probably a good entry into a gap closing type trade as well. So we have a nice ghost here, and a neckline drawn, and this is our entry into the ghost short trend changing pattern. Let's see how this all works out. Remember, we're looking for nice angles, breaking through, looking good. Nice, beautiful angle down. Get right down to the 100, break through to 100, continuing down, continuing down. Goes up a little bit, still continues down. Still no reason to get out of the trade, still looking good. Yeah, we just got a familiar pattern there, we find out. Now look at that go. Look at that go. And we get out of the trade crossing the 100. The minus 100. So you can see how that was a nice ghost pattern short with an attempt to close the gap. Again, nice pattern, nice symmetrical looking ghost. One of the things I find out when I mentor the moderate the chat rooms is I find that some people can find the most ugliest looking ghost there is. I like to see some good symmetry to my ghost. Some people, every little hook and and bump his a shoulder or a head on a ghost. So I like to see it more pronounced. There's the ghost. Again, a nice thing. Now remember what I said on exits. A nice exit on the ghost pattern would be a flat top or a flat bottom. You see that flat top, flat bottom right at the 200, meaning that momentum to the downside has stopped. And some people will use that as a nice exit out. So again, we went short at 858.30, short at 858.30. We're down here to 57.40. There's our 10 ticks. Break even plus 1 on our stop. Just stay with it. Stay with it. Still going south, 856.80. 856.40, 855.20. $855.20 is still the low. 855. 855 was the low, and we got short at 858. So that's 33 tick trade on that ghost. So beautiful ghost pattern. All right, this is a ghost on the DAX. You'll notice again we had a nice shoulder here, a beautiful head. Nice shoulder. We draw our neckline. We can see color from our neckline to the top of the shoulder there. You can see background color. Remember, you want to be able to see that to make it a good shoulder. If that was too flat, it would just be a flat line. You would see no color. That would not be a good ghost. You want to see color above that neckline to the top of the shoulders. So again, nice leaning my way, the way I like to see things. And what is a clue, one clue here, that maybe this ghost would also go? If you'll notice, we had a possible attempt at a zero line reject here, and it failed. It was an attempt. It wasn't one that we would take, but it was an attempt. And that gives you a clue that maybe a trend-changing pattern is going to work. So we got that coming through at a nice angle. Again, our angles being very important. Oops, excuse me, I went head to, let me go back one. And click on the chart, and let's watch this trade develop. There's where we entry. And the ghost continues down. Continues down. Look at that. Isn't that very nice? Look at those angles. Beautiful sharp angles down on that. No reason to get out of the trade until it crosses the minus 100. So again, a really nice trade. We got in here and we went all the way down and had a nice trade. Again, clue was the zero line reject that we wouldn't take, but it failed. And some red dots showing up on the least square moving average also would be a clue. We get to the zero line, which was major support. We go one bar and we finally break through it, and look at that angle down, breaking through major support. So there's a complete story on the ghost pattern right there, a complete story on a ghost. Let me go back to the beginning one more. 81.08 was our entry at bar close. 81.08. We're down to 06. 06, 03, 81, 97, 94, 89, 86, 83 low. So we had an 83 low, and our entry was 81.08. So that's 17 and 8 is 25 ticks times $35. Not too shabby. Nice ghost pattern. Look at how pretty that stands tall there. Isn't that nice? Now, as I've said a while back, for 16 years of stats that I've gathered in all type of markets, the ghost pattern has been one of the best patterns along with the Vermeer. You can just, as I say, you just got to love the ghost pattern. It's a great, great pattern. All right, let's look at another inverted ghost here. We got a mittens ghost here. Now, on the mittens ghost, we have a shoulder here, and they're above the head, and there's the head for the mittens ghost. So we have a mittens ghost, an inverted mittens ghost with the neckline facing the zero, the way I like to see it. The other thing that you can do with a mittens ghost to get a target is you take the longest arm and you measure it from the neckline to the bottom of that arm. You take the biggest one, in this case over here is the biggest one, and you would take the CCI points from there. And that's how you would measure the target for a mittens ghost. So again, we got a nice arm below the head, and the head in the middle. We draw our neckline. Our trigger is taking out the neckline. Again, look at the nice angle, taking that out. Now, what is a clue here that this possibly could go? Well, we had a zero line reject here and a zero line reject here that maybe went, if it had went, it didn't go very far. We also look up at the sidewinder and you see we had a strong trend down, and all of a sudden the trend down is starting to wane, which means that a trend changing pattern like the mittens ghost could start to go long here. So let's take a look at this trade as it develops. There you go. Look at the angles. Look at the angles, people. Isn't that beautiful? Now, when you're a trader and you see that thing shoot up and you're long, you're sitting back there again. So, oh, you gotta love the ghost. Got to love the ghost. And again, the exit is crossing back through the plus 100 in this case. So again, beautiful, beautiful trade. Angle, we come through that zero line. Look at the angle. Beautiful up angle. All of a sudden, people using lagging indicators push it up for us. Thank you very much. Remember, we must always thank the people on the other side of our trades. And I don't mean to be harsh saying that. I say that because when I first started trading many years ago, and I had all those losing trades and paying my dues, no one said thank you to me. And so when I found something that works, I like to be a little different than the way they treated me when I was in the losing end of this business. As everybody knows, you have to pay your due. All right, so that's a nice mittens ghost. Remember, mittens ghost, both arms must be below the head, and then you got the head in the middle. Okay, here we got a regular ghost. We've had a beautiful, beautiful downtrend for a long, long time. We took this trade actually about a week ago or so in the chat room, and we had the shoulder here, a shoulder here, and a head here. Neckline break just below the minus 100. You'll notice our entry was right here on this, and we had a little bit of interaction at the minus 100. Why? Because that was acting as a minor resistance, and that's why we had a little bit of problem. So for this ghost to go, we got to get through that. So let's take a look at that. All right, look at the angle once we break through that 100, huh? Look at the angles once you break the support and resistance lines. Look at that. Beautiful trade. Got right down to support, minor support, and bounced away, and then come back and broke it for a nice exit. Now some people say, well, Woody, is that a ghost there? No. The reason why that's not a ghost, again, one shoulder is above the head is here, and then the other shoulder is below the head. If this shoulder was above the head Or if this one was below the head, you would have a ghost. But you can't have one above and one below. They must both be above or both below. So again, let's go replay this trade. And why do you think this is going to work? Look at the nice green movement, and all of a sudden we're starting to get yellow on the sidewinder, giving us a heads up. Also, that little interaction at the 100 line there. If we knew if we got this ghost pattern and it broke through that, we'd be gone. And that's exactly what happened with the nice angles up. Beautiful trade. Nice exits. Nice trend changing pattern. Long downtrend. Trend changing pattern, and at the end of it with a ghost, inverted ghost, and a nice trade. Let's just take a look. We got short, went long at 780.30. 780.30, we go long on breaking the neckline. There's a 10 ticks. We'll break even plus 1 on the trade. There's at least 20 ticks. So again, beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. All right, so that's an inverted ghost to go long. And that's the end of our ghost. And we just remember this. A ghost is a ghost is a ghost is a ghost. You've got to love the ghost.